Are you ready to see my lost tooth that the tooth fairy took?
Whoa! Oh my gosh, McKenna! Are you excited to lose more teeth?
Yeah!
Why are you so excited to lose more teeth? Huh? Hello?
Because I want to lose 4 more teeth!
4?
Yeah!
All at one time? That's a lot of teeth. As you can see, anything is likely to happen on Improv in the Kitchen, where we're supposed to be discussing food, but apparently we got into the teeth. Disclaimer, there's no baby teeth in the food, okay? So don't worry about that. 4 carrots that I got from the Korean market for $2, but I'm not gonna use all of them. I'm just gonna use probably not in, because this is big, so probably not even this whole one here either. But I did want to show you that if you don't have a utensil that can finely chop or a grater that will, kind of mince this a little, because you don't want to, because this is stir fry, so you don't want those big kind of chunky vegetables in stir fry. So what I'm using is this peeler right here. So after I've washed it and cleaned off the dirty skin, what I'm doing is just this, and as you can see, and just kind of turning it, and that's how it looks. And you may not have what you need right offhand, and you've got to get creative, and that's kind of what these improv episodes are about. Is now normally you wouldn't use a peeler to create these kind of thin slices. And also don't worry about them being all the same size. I know you want your stuff cooked. All right, so far this is how it's looking. This is what I have left. I know I said that I got these carrots for $2, those 4 carrots for $2 at a Korean farmer's market. Now remember, I'm in Korea, so it's different. Don't be mad at me if you're in the US and you can't get these 4 juicy carrots in the US for $2. Now, as you can see, there go the carrots, all minced up with, again, simple little vegetable peeler. So now I'm going to put that to the side and get started on the cabbage, which I said was I bought at a Korean market I got this for $1. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm not going to use a peeler on this because it's not necessary, because cabbage easily can get chopped up. Then of course, that tough, hard carrot. So I'm going to go ahead and clean, get these dirty leaves off, wash it, and get started with chopping it up. So I'm probably going to be using about this much, which is about 1/4 of this cabbage right here. I may cut off like another little piece. So it's going to depend on how much food you're making for, how many people. This will be good for the dish that I'm making. I may cut off another little piece, but 1/4 of that cabbage right there is pretty good. And plus I like to save some of this for some other steamed cabbage dishes and stuff like that. So I really don't need to use that big whole cabbage in this meal that I'm making. All right, so there's the cabbage there with the carrots. I'm just gonna mix it in just to see if I kind of have the right amount of carrot-cabbage ratio that I'm looking for. Yeah, I think that's pretty good, because the cabbage is going to shrink. So I have here the chicken that I'm going to use. Again, let's fold that down. We're not advertising because, again, they're not paying me. This is grilled and ready, fully cooked chicken breast strips. Right? And this is, a matter of fact, if you can see that, it still is the chicken. Again, some of these companies, they need to do a little bit better than this, because I just opened this bag and half of it is air. And as you can see, the chicken is way down at the bottom. So I would encourage that these manufacturers, these people that make these ready-made meals, please give us some more food for our money, because that right there, half of it, like I said, is air. The meat is all the way at the bottom. And I just think that that's just not right for the price you have to pay. Do a little bit better than that. Give us a little bit more food for our money, because this has been going on for years like this. But this is what the chicken pieces look like. And I just cut them up into those little cubes because, you don't want any big chunky stuff again in your stir-fried noodles. So you don't want any big chunks of anything, not even the vegetables in the stir-fry. So this is what the chicken looks like when it comes out of the bag. And you just cut it up into little cubes. Now, some of these pieces are still very much frozen, but we're going to cook it down just like that. We don't have time to thaw any chicken or wait for it to drip dry or anything like that. We're going to cook it as is. So this is the pan that I use. It's non-stick, and it's a very big size pan for the amount of noodles that I'm going to be using, for the amount of food that's going to be added to it. And I believe you saw in my other video that I made a soup. So now the directions say that all you have to do is use cold water to wash the rice sticks. That's it. You don't need to soak it. You just rinse it under cold water, because you don't want to rinse it under hot water, because you don't want the noodles to get mushy, because right now they're in their natural state. And once we put the cold water, and I'll show you, once you run it under the cold water for a few minutes, it starts to get more pliable and a little bit softer. These type of noodles, they cook very quickly. So, and they're going to be one of the last things that you put in your pan when you stir fry. So let me go ahead and rinse it off with cold water.
A few moments later.
Let me give you a closer look at it. See, you can... a lot more pliable. It does retain water as well, so it's actually going to continue to soften. All right, so I just put the grapeseed oil in there just now. So that's what's in there, because this is really good for stir fry, high heat. Wait for that to heat up a little bit. Now, I don't know if you have a pan like mine where you see the oil spreads off to the side. In this case, if you have a pan like that, I wouldn't recommend putting a lot more oil, because then you don't want it to be that saturated. So I'm going to put about 2 eggs in there to scramble. And it's your choice if you want to put egg in there. See, I'm just going to kind of want to tilt it off to the side so that it doesn't stick, because you don't want to clean the pan in between, because you want to keep some of those drippings for flavor and taste. So I kind of just do it off to the side. If you have a better pot like a wok, then you won't have this problem. But this is just an idea here. If you have one of those pans where the oil spreads off onto the sides and it doesn't evenly coat the pan. So as you can see, this is kind of how high the fire is. I may want to turn that up a little bit more, because again, it's stir fry, so we want to get a higher heat and kind of spread the oil around. So now, I've seen people put the egg at the end or in the middle, but I like to do it, and some people do in the beginning. I like to do in the beginning too, because I feel like when you put it in the end, that it mixes with the food, and I feel like it doesn't cook right or something. Put the cabbage and carrot blend that I had chopped up earlier, put that in there. Now with the cabbage and the carrots, you don't have to, you just want to saute them or stir fry them. These are the type of vegetables, they don't need to be boiled beforehand or anything like that. And with stir frying, you want to add oil as you go along, because again, you don't want the food to burn. I'm starting to think that may not be enough egg. I may want a little bit more eggs in there. I'm also going to put like a little apple cider vinegar in there to get that little tart tanginess in there. You don't want to put too much, because then you don't want it, vinegary. You just want it for, again, taste. And as you start to stir it, you'll notice that the vegetables start to soften or saute. And it really happened with cabbage and carrots. It happens pretty quickly. And with stir fry, you want to add the ingredients little by little. You don't have to put everything all in at one time. And you can season as you go. You don't have to pre-season. Put a little bit of soy sauce, little bit as you go, building the flavor. I think I'm going to turn the heat up even more. I don't have it full. Oh yeah, I do have it on full high. Okay, never mind. And you see how the vegetables are starting to soak up the oil. So that's why you want to keep adding the oil little by little. You don't want to completely drench it. Little by little with stir fry is how you want to do it. Same thing with the vegetables. Stir frying is all about creating these nice layers of flavor, so not everything has to be cooked all at one time, because eventually everything is going to be thoroughly cooked. I'm starting to think I may have a little bit too much cabbage and carrots. I can always use the remaining mixture, vegetable mixture, for something else. Look at how those vegetables are really softening. That's why it's called stir fry, because you want to keep stirring. You want to make sure you keep stirring it so it doesn't stick to the pan. Especially if your pan has lost some of its non-stick or that Teflon. I think I'm going to put a little bit of my chicken. Now remember, this chicken is already pre-cooked, and it was cold and frozen. So I'm just going to put a little bit of that in there. And this chicken, since it's already pre-made, it has a little bit of seasoning to it. So you want to take that into mind, because the last thing you want is your food to be very salty. So that's why you also want to be careful with your soy sauce, because especially if it's not like the low sodium one. And I found that even with the low sodium one, it can get salty quickly. Don't be very heavy-handed with the soy sauce. So as you're adding food, you've got to also add flavor, because that food is soaking up that layer of flavor that was already there before you added that additional food to it. That's starting to look real pretty, guys. I like my food pretty with color. So right now, I'm going to add a little bit more oil. Sprinkle a little bit. I'm going to add some of my seasonings that I normally use. I'm going to add a bit of onion powder, get a little bit of seasoned salt, get some black pepper, and you're just going to keep mixing it. Yes, you do want to keep turning it, keep stirring it to make sure that it doesn't burn. But it's just getting that nice color. I'm going to add a little bit of soy sauce, because again, with soy sauce, a little bit goes a long way. So just a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and add the rest of that chicken. I'm also going to add a little bit of sesame seed oil. I like the sesame seed oil, not for frying, but just because it adds a little bit more flavor. If at any time you feel like, oh my goodness, I'm losing control of this, just go ahead and turn the fire off. Take the pan away from the fire. That's all. It's that simple. And just look at that beautiful color. So here are the noodles that I was telling you about, the pancit noodles, and just look how soft they are. And that was just from under the cold water, and all I did was let it sit. I didn't soak it, nothing like that. I'm going to add a little bit of that in, and remember, it's still frying, so gotta be quick. I also should have reminded you guys to keep on hand some hot water. So if you feel like, okay, no, I don't like all that, use hot water, because again, you don't want to use cold water, because then it's like you're starting over again, because you don't want the water to have to build up to boiling. So just put hot water in there, because it's stir fry. Everything's got to be kept hot at high heat. And it's good also to add the hot water for moisture, because look how the noodles are just melting in there. So let me add a little bit more. Probably just put the whole thing. So you see the pan over here, how it's getting dry. I don't know if you can see that. So we're going to add a little bit more hot water in there. I think I might be good on ingredients. I don't think, looking at it, I think I have the ratio of vegetables to noodles and chicken is good. I don't think I'm going to add any more. And it's tougher to start adding more food once you get the noodles in there. Ooh, let me tell you, I'm building up muscle with this stir fry. I know that. All right. Some people say get some chopsticks. I think I know why, because these noodles get so stuck together. Ooh, it's hot. All right, guys, I need to speed it up because my camera is shutting off for some reason. But I'm just gonna add a little bit more soy sauce in there and get my chopsticks. But really, it's done. This is done and ready to go. Ready to eat. That's it. And this is your end product right here. Look how beautiful, piping, steaming, hot deliciousness. Thanks again for watching this episode of Improv in the Kitchen. Enjoy and be safe. All right, let's see how it tastes. Get a little bit of the egg and the chicken, if I can grab it. It's so flavorful. It's really good, guys. This is really good. Victim, taste tester.
Victim?
Just eat. You're still alive, aren't you?
Yeah, because I ain't eat it yet. You mean victim. All right, here we go. It's hot.
Oh, you didn't eat it like me. I had ate it like a pig.
They're really good. Very, very good.
So what do you like about it?
Chicken is soft. Cabbage. It's not too salty. It's really good. The consistency of these, what's this again? Glass noodles?
Rice noodles.
Same shit, different day. Rice noodles.
Don't curse.
I can bleep it out.
Oh, goodness. Kids might be watching.
I can cut it all out. Okay.
All right, wait a minute. This is a
rice noodle.
This is a taste test, bruh. It's not the eat.
You didn't say stop, so.
You know what taste?
I know what tasting. I'm tasting right now.
You're eating it.
But you didn't say cut or nothing like
There's
that.
a difference between.
This is Hollywood. You gotta say cut.
No, this is.
Director, you gotta say cut.
This is a taste test.
Obviously, she want me to eat it because she ain't say cut yet.
Do you ever get these people? They go to, like, let's say a wine tasting and it's to taste, but they drink the whole bottle. That's him right there. That's him right there.
They really not go back to the cookie incident.
It was a brownie, not a cookie. Anyways.
You didn't even say cut yet.